Good evening and thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. This is World News. My name is Esther Wachiku. First off, the top stories. Fuel tanker with 45,000 litres of petrol overturns in Oyo State. Also, Miyetti Allah discloses the lost 340 cattle to rustlers in July. Also, in a very recent development as well, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu reiterates stands for and extends tenure of customs boss Adeniyi despite contention. In another development as well, on the political front, issues have emerged as 21 members in the National Assembly of the Labour Party quickly defect. Now, ADC crisis deepens as party chieftain declares himself national chairman. Also, Arafai's son, Bashir, calls Bola Tinubu Pablo, mocks his wife, Remy, and hails Peter Obi. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. A petroleum tanker carrying 45,000 litres capacity of petroleum motor spirit has stumbled at the Eleyele area in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. A statement by the chairman of the State Fire Service, Maruf Akinwade, in Ibadan on Wednesday said the incident occurred opposite AIB filling station at Eleyele on Tuesday. He explained that the tanker swerved off the road into a nearby ditch, leading to its content gushing out profusely. Akinwade said men of the agency were immediately mobilized to the scene of the incident. Meanwhile, the Benue State chapter of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria today said that no fewer than 340 cattle belonging to its members were rustled in the month of July. This was contained in a statement issued by the association's state secretary, Ibrahim Galma, and made available to journalists in Makurdi. According to the statement, the incidents occurred in Agatu and parts of the Guma local government area of Benue State. Galma further alleged that the cattle rustlers operating in Agatu local government area have extended their activities to parts of Kogi State. The association appealed to the state government to investigate the incidents, bring the perpetrators to justice, and compensate the victims to foster peace and coexistence. When contacted, the chairman of Agatu local government, James Melvin, confirmed that the matter had been reported and called on security agencies to act, saying they are calling on the security agencies to quickly investigate the matter. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved a one-year extension of the tenure of the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi. Adeniyi, whose tenure was initially scheduled to end on August 31, 2025, will now remain in office until August 2026. The announcement was made today in a statement by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nanaga. According to the statement, the extension is intended to allow Adeniyi to consolidate ongoing reforms and complete key initiatives under the Tinubu administration. Onaniga said the president recognized Adeniyi's leadership and expressed confidence that the extension would further strengthen the customs service in areas such as trade, facilitation, revenue generation, and border security. Adeniyi was appointed Comptroller General in October 2023 after serving in an acting capacity. Now, moving on to the political scene, former Kogi West Senator Dino Melaye has officially resigned from the People's Democratic Party. Melaye anchored his resignation on PDP's failure to rescue Nigeria from what he described as a prevailing political cankerworms. His resignation was contained in a letter dated July 30 and addressed to the PDP chairman of Ward 1 in Ayetoro Bede Ijumu local government area of Kogi State. He also disclosed that this decision became imperative due to the lack of potency and capacity by the party to deliver the Nigerian people from the prevailing political cankerworms that have eaten deeply into the very fabric of the nation. Former Senate President David Mark, Atiku, Dele Momodu are amongst those who have left the party. Mark is currently the interim national chairman of the ADC, the platform adopted by the opposition coalition. Meanwhile, Mark has warned members of the coalition to be committed to ADC, stressing there will be no room for anti-party activities. Meanwhile, no fewer than 21 lawmakers have so far dumped the once hailed Nigeria's fastest growing political movement, the Labour Party, since the conclusion of the 2023 general elections. The party is now confronting a harsh political reality, an alarming defection of 21 elected lawmakers within just 12 months. The wave of resignations, party switches, and internal discontent has cast a dark shadow over the Labour Party, raising serious concerns about the party's future ahead of the 2027 general elections. Riding on the popularity of its 2023 presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, the Labour Party stunned the nation by securing seats across the Senate, House of Representatives, and several state assemblies. But that rise has quickly unraveled, with defections that cut across the political map. Analysts and insiders blamed the turmoil on intra-party wrangling, the absence of a strong ideological identity, weak leadership, and a failure to consolidate early gains. The first major crack came in July 2024 when Senator Ezenwa Francis Onyewuchi, representing Imo East, defected to the APC. His departure proved to be the trigger for what would become a domino effect, exposing deep fractures in the party. Soon after, 5 members of the House of Representatives followed suit. Chinedu Okere, representing Imo State, Matthew Donatus, Kaduna State, Basi Akiba, Cross River State, Esosa Iyawe, Edo State, Alfred Ilia Ajang, Plateau State. Subsequently, House of Rep member Daliop Chalam, Plateau, also exited the party, deepening the sense of crisis. While the situation further deteriorated in Enugu State, a region once considered a Labour Party stronghold. In a major blow, 6 lawmakers from the Enugu State House of Assembly defected to the People's Democratic Party as well. Ejike Eze, Johnson Ugu, Pius Ezuwa, Amuka William, Osita Eze, Princess Ugu. Their reasons included loss of confidence in the party's leadership, direction, and internal cohesion. Well, the 2 high-profile exits, especially for Senator Iriti Kingibe, who represents the Federal Capital Territory, and Senator Neda Imasue, representing Edo South, departing the party further depleted the Labour Party's presence in the Senate. So far, the list was rounded up by 2 more House of Rep members from Enugu who formally resigned in May 2025, Chimaobi Atu and Paul Nachi. Well, as it stands at the moment, 21 lawmakers from the Labour Party defected to other political parties, predominantly the All Progressives Congress. Reacting to the wave of defections, Labour Party's National Publicity Secretary Obiora Ifo said the party has started compiling the names of defectors for inclusion in a hall of shame. They said they would pursue legal action based on Section 68 subsection G of the 1999 Constitution, which prohibits defections not rooted in division within a party. Well, as it stands, there are rising concerns that both Peter Obi and Abia State Governor Alex Oti may soon leave the party, which could spell political doom for the once vibrant political party. Now, the internal crisis rocking the African Democratic Congress worsened on Wednesday night as Nafeyu Bala, a former governorship candidate of the party in Gombe State, declared himself the new national chairman. Speaking at a press conference in Abuja, Bala, who previously served as the ADC's national deputy chairman, accused the David Mark-led interim leadership of unlawfully taking over the party in breach of its constitution. Last month, opposition politicians and several ADC leaders adopted the party as a coalition platform for the 2027 general elections. Prominent figures in the coalition include former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, ex-Senate President David Mark, former PDP National Chairman Uche Secondus, former Governors Babangida Aliyu, Sam Egu, Aminu Tambuwal, Liel Imoke, former Kaduna Governor Nasir Arafai, 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Mr. Peter Obi, ex-ministers Ralph Aregbesola, Rotimi Amechi, Solomon Dalong, former APC Chairman Odige Onyegu, and ex-minister Bolaji Abdullahi, amongst others. Well, the ADC's 2023 presidential candidate Dumebi Kachuku also criticized the move, insisted that the decision undermines the party's identity and grassroots members. A faction of the ADC has consistently rejected the opposition's alliance adoption of the party, arguing it is not a private coalition platform to be commandeered by select political elites. Now, Bashir El-Rufai, one of the sons of former Governor Nasir El-Rufai, today again derided President Bola Tinubu as Pablo, mocking the First Lady Remi Tinubu, and praised Mr. Peter Obi as a potential presidential candidate in the 2027 general elections. Mr. El-Rufai, in a post, derided Mr. Tinubu, calling the president by the first name of notorious Colombian drug kingpin Pablo Escobar, while predicting that Mr. Obi would win the next election even before the First Lady finishes preparing breakfast on election day. Though lauding former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as a force to be reckoned with, Mr. El-Rufai hinged his prediction of victory for the opposition on the sheer force of Obi's numbers and cult-like followership, which brings a challenge. Mr. El-Rufai added that his appeal across the youth and this younger generation is one profound aspect of his leverage. Well, Bayo Onanuga, spokesperson for Mr. Tinubu, did not immediately reply, but however, Mr. Bashir has said Pablo Escobar, a reference to Mr. Tinubu over his narcotic dealing case in the United States, will be making his biggest mistake if the Nigerian government arrests his father. Similarly, his father has been attacking Mr. Tinubu since they fell apart after his ministerial nomination was blocked by the Senate. The former Kaduna governor, in an interview, admitted supporting Mr. Tinubu despite his Chicago cocaine and certificate scandals. In June, the former governor berated Mr. Tinubu's government as an evil that would destroy Nigeria, which he claimed he contributed to bringing upon the country, adding that he was joining the coalition to oust Mr. Tinubu from office in 2027. The politician thanked God for not being part of Tinubu's government whenever he saw the administration inflicting more pain on Nigerians and getting simple governance wrong. Elsewhere, U.S. President Donald Trump, following the sanction of Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexander de Moraes, has threatened to extend similar punitive measures to corrupt judges in Nigeria and other countries accused of trampling on fundamental human rights. The warning came shortly after the U.S. Department of State, under the Global Magnitsky Human Rights Accountability Act, sanctioned Justice Moraes for alleged human rights violations, including politically motivated detentions and suppression of free speech. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed the move on Wednesday in a post via his X account, stating that they have sanctioned the Brazilian Supreme Court Justice under the Global Magnitsky Sanctions Program for serious human rights abuses. He further issued a stern warning, and I quote, "Let this be a warning to those who would trample on the fundamental rights of their countrymen. Judicial robes cannot protect you." The Global Magnitsky Sanctions Program, named after Russian lawyer Sergei Magnitsky, who died in 2009 after exposing corruption, enables the U.S. government to impose financial and travel restrictions on foreign individuals responsible for gross human rights abuses or corruption. However, the U.S. Department of State explained that Moraes was sanctioned for overseeing arbitrary detentions, issuing secret orders to U.S. social media companies to silence critics, and undermining freedom of expression. Trump's administration echoes Rubio's comments, which signals that corrupt judicial officials globally, including those in Nigeria, may face similar consequences if found guilty of suppressing democratic freedoms or violating human rights. You're currently listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into our news analysis segment while we're joined via the telephone with Barrister Fred Nzako. To kindly stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. This is still the World News right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Barrister Fred Nzako, good evening, and thank you for joining us on the World News at 6.
Thank Thank you. Good evening, and good evening to our dear listeners.
Thank you, Barrister Friday Nzako. It's actually quite a cold day in Lagos. I hope that you were enjoying the weather.
Oh yeah, we are gradually becoming a temperate region.
All right, Barrister. So let's go full on into the conversation. Basically, as Nigerians, some Nigerians are unhappy with the current administration where they feel that the effect of governance is not being administered. Some persons have come out to say that the problem of the administration are the aides of the president and those who occupy different sectors where they're meant to read out the achievements of this administration, and that is a problem. So because nobody is highlighting the achievements of the administration, no one is seeing it, and that's why Nigerians are complaining. Are you of that same line of thought?
Nigerians are not seeing it because they are not feeling it. If they feel it, they will see it. And if they see it, they will feel it. It goes pari passu. And governance impact is not mounted. It is not also to be seen via propaganda. People will feel it in their daily living and their daily lives. So I do not think that anybody will begin to tell Nigerians how their lives are relative to how their lives used to be before they come in on the stream of the current administration. So I think if anybody wants to advise Mr. President or his government, they should really forget this idea of mounting their achievements via propaganda, but rather try to understand the feelings of the people, understand their challenges, and their expectations and aspirations. That will help the government to retune and fine-tune their policies. It is not for lack of policies, but when policies are not getting adequate and competitive results, the policies would need to be reviewed. And you cannot review a policy if you live in denial of its impact. And I think what the government officials are doing is to live in denial and continue to bombard Nigerians with phantom mounted audio achievements that cannot be verified, do not have impact in their lives, and believing that when they continue to say it over and over again, it becomes a fact. The only fact that the people will understand is the one that has affected their lives. If it's affecting their lives positively, they will know, and they will say it. These things are very easy and very simple. But when those in authority do not want to face the truth, the only thing they keep doing is to keep mounting propaganda in the ears of Nigerians, which, of course, is very annoying in some cases.
It is indeed. Barrister, let's move on to our judicial sector. So, for example, U.S. has 1 Nigerian judges as well as other judges in other countries saying that they will sanction them for abuse of fundamental human rights. They said that their judicial robes cannot protect them. And this is because U.S. President Donald Trump, following the sanction of the Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandra de Moraes, has threatened to extend similar punitive measures to corrupt judges in Nigeria and other countries accused of trampling on fundamental human rights. The warning is coming shortly after the U.S. Department of State, under the Global Magnitsky Human Rights as Accountability Act, sanctioned Justice Moraes for alleged human rights violations. Now let's get to the point of Nigeria. There are complaints that our Nigerian judges, most instances that has to do with cases, have been more politically influenced. There are complaints that the judges lean towards the politicians, and there are examples of recent judgments given, especially on some political tendencies, like how we had disparaging and inconsistent judgments in Rivers State before the suspension of the Rivers State governor. We also have the situation with the Labour Party, the situation as well with Natacha Akmoti. Again, also the state of emergency that was declared in Rivers, which the courts did not literally spill out to say if indeed it was constitutional or not. There are complaints that the judges in the country are highly influenced by the executive, and in most instances they are not usually firm with their judgments. If the US government is saying this, does this mean that some of these judges, whom supposedly, maybe if anyone is writes to the US government, may not be allowed to travel out of the country? What sanctions can be imposed on them?
I think it is important to say that the threat by the U.S. government to sanction judges an empty threat. Empty threat in the sense that the concept of respect of sovereignty is an international concept that any country that is a sovereign country has every authority to handle its affairs, its internal affairs, the way and manner they deem fit. Whatever goes on within a country does not in any way disturb the international community. So the threat is a mere empty threat, and that is how they deceived Moshood Abiola. When Abiola thought that they would come to his aid, when he was saying that the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina will be a child's play to what will happen in Nigeria if his mandate was not returned. And then he was hoping that the international partners in America, Canada, and the rest of the world will come to the aid of Nigerian democracy. But they failed, Moshood Abiola failed Nigerian democracy. Instead, they were even the ones that worked against the actualization of the mandate. Of course, that's another story for another day. But what I'm trying to establish is that it is an empty threat that holds no water. But let me quickly say that does not mean that our judicial system will continue to mess up the people of Nigeria, especially with respect to the electoral jurisprudence. The biggest injustice you can do to any people, which is the biggest injustice that Nigerian people are facing, is electoral injustice. It is the biggest. There's no injustice that is bigger than that. Taking away the mandate of the people and selling it to the highest bidder, or selling it to anybody who does not deserve it, who does not naturally hold such mandate. And if anybody wants to help Nigeria, it should start from that end. Anything short of that, I can tell you that those empty threats will hold no water. What are they going to do? What are they going to do to them? And the worst case scenario, you deny them visa. And if you deny them visa, they will go to another country. And I have even seen that when they even claim to deny them visa, at the end of the day, when they come out of office, they still go to US. So I do not think that is enough for us to begin to jump up and down and say America has come to our rescue. As we speak, the only thing that will help Nigeria is anything that will further strengthen our democratic process and ensure that the mandate of the people is not thwarted at all times.
Okay, so Barrister Friday Nzako, there are talks that because of the kind of person Donald Trump is, Nigeria may not find some favor with some historical attachments connected to it. Why am I saying this, Barrister Fred? A couple of Nigerians feel, and some political analysts like yourself feel, that this information coming now is just after a day or 2 days when the United States missions in Nigeria disclosed that the governors were eating fat, and while the people were suffering, they disclosed that the healthcare, education, infrastructure, and the well-being of Nigerians is in total chaotic debilitation, but that the governors are really living a luxurious lifestyle. Well, we've seen Bayo Nanoga and a couple of other members of this administration come to defend the country by telling the United States to mind its business and not put it or infuse its comments or its mouth into the affairs of Nigeria. Do you consider this a coincidence that just yesterday, 2 days ago, this statement was made? We're hearing about the sanctions from the United States on judges who could be impeding the fundamental human rights of Nigerians here.
Well, Mr. Onanuga will say so because he knows that there is very little U.S. government can do to Nigerian government officials, as it were. While they are still in office, they are covered by diplomatic immunity to a very large extent, and they can even travel to America. When they leave office, most times, even Mr. Trump himself have also left office. So there is no perpetuity in any policy or in any position.
But Barrister, we've known the U.S. in time past to infuse themselves in the political drama of other countries. In fact, they usually impose their decisions and wishes. If at all the United States has some kind of certain interest in any of the country that they are targeting, are you telling me that if they put sanctions like this, they wouldn't go ahead with it? We've seen what they've done in Afghanistan. We've seen what they've done in Syria. We've also seen them infuse themselves in Israel. And considering how the sanction Russia, although we would say that these are countries that they have partnership and allies with, but on several occasions that the United States is more interested in certain countries and they want to have their way, they usually impede in the political activities of the country. Are you telling me that if the United States government is saying this, that it's not going to have any effect within our internal, anything that has to do with our local politics or administration in this part of the world, considering their antecedents?
By American politics that we know, America is most times interested in their own affairs. You see them jump up and take actions when the actions of another country affects their own interests in one way or the other. That's when you see them taking action. But if a country decides to keep killing itself, America can only make some statements and not take very strong action against that country. And of course, we are in a democracy.
Yeah.
And if it were a military regime, they could begin to give sanctions against Nigeria. But since it's a democracy, what sanction are they going to give to Nigeria? They can't give any sanction. Rather, they will continue to encourage the people to play by the rules. And even when the leaders are not playing by the rules, what can they do? Well, it is important that they give such threat for the optics. But I tell you that in reality, those threats really don't shake the people in power. What will shake the people in power is the action of Nigerians themselves. The people who bear the brunt of the bad governance. What are they doing? If we sit down here and be expecting that America will come to our aid, I tell you that we will wait until the kingdom comes, because they can't come to our aid. It is our responsibility to help ourselves and push away people, the minority that are bringing terrible hardship on our people. We have a responsibility to do that by civil means of an electoral process, and demand actions and demand accountability from INEC. If we wait for America to do all this for us, I can tell you we are waiting in vain.
All right, Barrister, let's look at the situation where El-Rufai's son, called President Bola Ahmed Tinubu Pablo Escobar. I mean, he called him a notorious Colombian drug kingpin, Pablo Escobar, while predicting that Peter Obi would win the next election even before the First Lady finishes preparing breakfast on election day. According to him, he says that Obi, as a flag bearer with a strong northern candidate, will defeat Pablo on election day before our dear mother of the nation, Auntie Remy, finishes his breakfast around 12 noon. And though, as we do know, we know what happened with El-Rufai leaving the APC to join the SDP. So he told the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be careful not to arrest his father. I don't know if you're aware that 2 or 3 days ago, the aides of El-Rufai were arrested. There is an investigation concerning corruption and financial misappropriation during the administration of El-Rufai as the governor of Kaduna State, and there are tendencies that there is a deliberate means to make him a political orphan. For example, you heard that the SDP banned him for 30 years, although they came to tell us that that's not true. Possibly there is now a faction in the SDP. So if that is the case, do we see that threat that there's a possible arrest coming for El-Rufai, and that's why the son is saying what he's saying? A couple of persons are wondering how come he is this daring in calling a sitting president without respect, Pablo Escobar.
Let me say it, make it abundantly clear, without any equivocation, that Bashir El-Rufai was not speaking for Mr. Peter Obi. Calling Mr. Peter Obi's name is only trying to strengthen his irresponsibility, or to try to make himself appear good. Such statement is not only irresponsible but very, very reckless. And of course, he made such statement by insinuation. He never mentioned the name of Mr. President, because if he dare say President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is and describe him in such a terrible manner.
Barrister Fred Nzako, this is his phrase. Obi, as a flag bearer with a strong northern candidate, would defeat Pablo on election day before our dear mother of the nation, Auntie Remy. Who do you think he's referring to?
Who is Pablo?
Who do you?
Pablo?
That's what he's.
That's why I said that he said it is only when you want to put 1 and 2 together to give you 12. Otherwise, who is Pablo? Who is Anti-Remi? Is Senator Tinubu the only Remi in Nigeria?
Oh wow, that's a judicial angle. Okay, cool.
Let him be very expressive.
Cool.
And let me see why he will not be arrested in the next hour. Let him be very expressive. He's only talking tongue in cheek. And he knows it. Let him, if he says he's Mr. Superman, and he's Mr. Boldness, let him say it expressly. And let me see whether the government will not arrest him in the next hour.
Okay, so, Barrister, I know you're bringing.
Even the way Amana he said it.
Yes.
Marks of irresponsibility.
But Barrister, I know that you're.
He's being very careful at the same time. He's trying to. He mentioned Mr. Peter Obi's name. Why did he not mention Mr. Tinubu's name? Why did he say Pablo? Because he knows what he's saying. He knows what he's doing. He only wants to appear bold. But at the same time, be very careful. Not to, if you hold him now, he has an alibi. His alibi is that he never mentioned Mr. President's name. And that he never insulted Mr. President.
Barrister, hold on. Barrister, hold on again. I know you're coming from a legal perspective. If at all this case is to go to court, and these are the means through which he could wriggle his way out of the statement he made, all right? But now I want you to hear this. Mr. Bashir had said Pablo Escobar in reference to Mr. Tinubu over his narcotic dealing in the United States. And this is what he said, that he'll be making the biggest mistake if the Nigerian government arrests his father. So who is in charge of the Nigerian government at this time? Who is heading the Nigerian government? Is it not President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? So you're saying that this is not a rule for him to be arrested?
Yes, those are insinuations. Those are insinuations. If he knows that he is very bold, let him be very express about it. I mean, those are insinuations. You only need to put one and two together to know that he was referring to Mr. Tinubu. Otherwise, why did he not mention his name? Why did he say Anti-Remi? Why did he not mention Senator Remi Tinubu? Then we now know that he's a macho man. So don't waste your precious time on such a irresponsible.
Barrister, do you know any other person, any other Nigerian who makes such a statement on X will be immediately arrested?
Any Nigerian who makes such utterances,
yes,
in a direct manner, will be arrested, and I will stand by with Mr. President to arrest him. In as much as you may not like Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he is the president of Nigeria, and he must be accorded that respect. Donald Trump, as American president, was described as a cheat. But go and call him a cheat in America and see whether FBI will not pick you up immediately. We're not talking about Tinubu anymore. We're talking about the president of Nigeria. And once you insult your president, you have insulted the collectivity of the Nigerian people. So forget that thing that Mr. Bashir Erufai, forget that thing that Mr. Bashir Erufai is saying. He's only trying to deceive his fellow youth as if he's a bold fellow, and then try to create impressions. Those are nonsensical impressions, which major adults will know that he's only trying to let him. If he knows he is wrong, let him be very express, such that there will be no doubt. The way he put it, it is very doubtful whether he was referring to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu or not.
It is very doubtful. So, okay, Barrister, well done. And
he knows what he's doing. Then you are now the one trying to put one and two together to make 12. Yes, he can make 12, but of course, such things can be said very expressly. The same way he mentioned Mr. Peter Obi, why did he not say former governor of Anambra? Because I know that when you say former governor of Anambra, there are many of them. Okay. But when you say Mr. Peter Obi, you are very direct. Because he has not insulted Peter. And you now want to shine with Peter's name. You know, Esther, I've told you sometime that what many Nigerians have learned of doing, many of them is to use Peter Obi's name to shine. Some of them either by unnecessarily patronizing Peter or unnecessarily insulting Peter. And because the man is a very peaceful man, he doesn't have time for all those nonsense. His eye is focused on how to rescue Nigeria. That is his main aim, that is his main agenda, that is his main focus. So whether they are insulting him or not, he is not interested. But for anybody who is responsible, such a fellow will know that there is a limit to rascality. And I can tell you that if Bashir oversteps his bounds, he will be picked up and nothing, absolutely nothing will happen because he is not. Who is he that he cannot be picked up?
All right. Well, a lot is
a lot. Even if Father El-Rufai can be picked up by EFCC and queried and even detained and be made to answer for his stewardship.
Okay.
And I want to even encourage EFCC not to pick and choose who to ask questions. They should ask questions from everybody, including former president. That is where I will know that EFCC is bold.
Well, Barrister, I'm not gonna. We all know we have been observing the pattern of the EFCC. In fact, since 2015, they've been rendered less effective. They only go for Yahoo boys and, according to them, internet fraudsters. We've not really seen them come heavy on the politicians like former President Olusegun Obasanjo did when he set up that commission. And it's quite surprising because Nuhu Ribadu was the first EFCC boss who came heavy on a lot of politicians of the time, and it's surprising that he is not heavy on insecurity, being the current national security advisor. We'll be coming to that conversation possibly during the evening rush. But Barrister, let's go on to, like Bashir Ahmed mentioned, Peter Ruby, it's concerning the ADC. So it seems like a crisis may be authentically brewing. There's a reason why that is. There's a party chieftain who declared himself the national chairman, displacing David Mark. According to him, as he said during a press conference in Abuja, his name is Bala Nafiu Bala. He previously served as the ADC's national deputy chairman, and he accused David Mark-led interim leadership of unlawfully taking over the party in breach of its constitution. So again, we know prominent individuals joined the ADC, including Nasir El-Rufai, whom we're speaking of, and he did quite a lengthy speech. And he said the constitution of the ADC contains explicit provisions outlining succession procedures and processes for filling vacant positions. And so he's calling on the Independent National Electoral Commission to urgently acknowledge and recognize him as a party chairman. This is coming barely 3 or 4 days after the APC also inaugurated or appointed a new APC chairman from Benue, the same state of David Mark. What do you think is happening?
It's very laughable that a man will just wake up and ask that he be declared the chairman of a political party. That tells you the level of naivety on the part of the man, or on the part of those who he is trying to work for, or on the part of those who he is trying to represent or impress. You don't just wake up and say, I want to be made the chairman of the party, and you write INEC, or you go and carry placard to INEC and say, recognize me as the party chairman. Everything has a procedure and a process. If the man, as you said, was a former one-time candidate of ADC, governorship
he's a
candidate
deputy chairman, deputy national chairman of the ADC.
Then you should know that to become chairman of a political party, you have to be elected at a party convention, or you have to be appointed on an interim basis by the National Executive Council of the party. That's all. So
well, Barrister, he's relying on the fact that the David Mark faction illegally came and took over the party. Remember that maybe the presidential candidate is also questioning the authority of David Mark and saying that they do not belong to the ADC. So obviously, okay.
They are co-travelers in the forest of starch of identity. Because even Dumebi himself, Ralph Mosu said that Dumebi was sacked by the party. By the time Dumebi was claiming all his claims that Ralph Mosu was not the chairman of the party, then the simple question that he couldn't answer was who signed his nomination form that he used to run for the presidential election in 2023. And he said it was Ralph Mosu. So how can Ralph Mosu, who signed your nomination form, INEC form, in 2023, you are claiming that he lost the chairmanship in 2018. So that simply showed that Dumebi himself was a confused fellow. And some people are now beginning to believe that there are people who are trying to use all means possible to derail the ADC.
Well, Bolaji Abdullahi has come out to accuse the APC of doing that. And I don't know how that is true.
They They are throwing at ADC anything they grab from the kitchen sink, just to derate the ADC, and they are not succeeding. This one may be one of them, I don't know, but I can simply tell you that this one is a confused fellow who just woke up and wanted INEC to recognize him as a party chairman. That's not the process.
We will see how INEC will react, because there have been complaints about these cases that INEC pays attention to. So there are some that supposedly may favor the government of the day and they pay attention to it with alacrity. And then the ones that they don't want to possibly to derail the progress of it, they take their time.
Let me quickly say, Esther.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying about INEC inconsistency.
Yeah.
I also understand the challenge that Nigerian democracy is facing under INEC.
Yeah.
So let me say very emphatically to all Nigerians that may listen to our voice this evening, that the greatest challenge to Nigerian democracy is that organ, that agency called INEC. INEC is the albatross of Nigerian democracy. INEC is the rigger-in-chief of any election. And I've always maintained that you cannot rig an election successfully without INEC. As a matter of fact, whenever there is an election rigging, INEC contributes 70% of the success of that rigging. So I'm even surprised that many Nigerians are not giving their satellite towards INEC. That even when Buhari was the president, he was populating the management of INEC with third-carry members and the sympathizers of APC. The NGOs and the election interested organizations all around Nigeria and outside Nigeria have been trying themselves that INEC is being populated by sympathizers of all progressive Congress. And the current government is continuing in that trajectory. And I can tell you that everything we are talking about 2027, if we don't watch out INEC and hold INEC to be accountable and responsible, INEC will once again control the mandate of the people. They don't give a hoot, because every election era is bazaar, is harvesting for INEC officials. That culture has permeated into the life and into the veins of INEC officials. And if we don't take away such culture, then we can as well consider our democracy very sick and very irredeemable. Because INEC, that is supposed to be the midwife of Nigerian democracy, is the traducer of Nigerian democracy and the undertaker of the death of Nigerian democracy.
Barrister, finally and very quickly.
I cannot stop talking about INEC.
Okay, fine. Finally.
With that Electoral Commission.
All right, finally, Barrister Friday Nzako. There's a lot actually with our political landscape. It's just that we don't have enough time for the world news. But Barrister, let's look at this way. The Labour Party, that was a thunderous thought force in 2023, swept the entire political scenario with the numbers that was able to broker out in a tightly contested elections that usually used to be between two major political parties, the APC and the PDP. Seems to be a party sitting at the very last drop of the dust. Now, this is the situation. More than 28 members of the Labour Party got their electoral seats at the National Assembly and the House of Reps. Do you know that 21 of them have defected to either the All Progressives Congress or the PDP? There are talks that some of them were either financially induced or threatened and they had to defect. But the official statement they give is a party infraction, the party fraction ongoing, and it seems unresolvable. As it stands at this very moment, it feels that the party literally has dissolved. There is also a tendency that very soon Peter Obi may declare that he has left, but he has consistently remained and maintained that he's still a member of the Labour Party. As it stands, the PDP has come out to say they're speaking with Peter Obi. Ali Modi Sharif came and told us via an interview that they have information that Peter Obi intends to join the PDP. So how will Peter Obi join the PDP, or is in talks with them, when majority of them have supposedly joined the ADC or even the APC? How do you see this calculation?
The problem Nigerian political elite have today, especially the ones in power, is that every move of P2B is a study for them in political calculations.
Okay.
If P2B smiles, they will watch to analyze it. Anything he does, P2B is the man of the moment. And then there is a reason for that. It has become very obvious that Peter Obi won the election of 2023 and was rigged out. In fact, the information has started coming out that Mr. Peter Obi had over 10 million votes of 2023 election, and his votes were stolen, suppressed, and thrown away, and he was rigged down to the third position. And that is why those who stole his mandate are afraid of every move he makes. Even when he is sleeping, they are watching to know when he will wake up. Even when he is eating, they are watching through the window to see whether the bone will stick to his throat. Mr. Peter Obi has become because he represents the hope, the faith, and the future of Nigeria. And that is why anywhere he is, that environment will know that he is there. His presence in Edo State pushed Mondo Bebolo to infamy, and he messed himself up by breaching the provisions of the Constitution and claiming that Mr. Obi should not be the head of his state. Earlier of Benue State was afraid of Mr. Obi's presence. Anywhere Mr. Obi goes, because he is the president of the minds of the people. Mr. Tinubu is the president of Nigeria in Asorok. But the president in the minds of most Nigerians is Mr. Peter Gregory Obi. And that is why his issues are always at the front burner. Labour Party became alive the very day Peter Obi picked Labour Party to run with Labour. And the Labour Party now gained a gigantic impression in the minds of Nigerians and did very well in that election. The very moment Abure and his men started messing up and started distancing themselves from Mr. Peter Obi, those who love Labour Party started also distancing themselves from Mr. Peter Obi, including the elected officials. I tell you that today, even Asorok is looking to see where Mr. Peter Obi will finally fetch his tent. After it is a political strategy, he is dribbling them all around. Today they don't know where he is.
Yeah.
They don't know whether he's going to PDP or whether he's going to ADC, or whether he's remaining in Labour. And they are confused, rolling up and down. If they see you hold meeting with Peter Obi, even after the meeting, if they can't hold Mr. Peter Obi, which of course they know they cannot, they will hold you to ask you, what did you discuss with him? I tell you that the temperature of Nigerian politics today has become so heightened that even INEC has lost control of political parties. Can't you see rallies going on in many states?
Yes. I'm surprised. We saw that 2 days ago.
So it is against Electoral Act. It is against INEC regulations. And all these things are, the ruling party is afraid of Mr. Peter Obi. And anywhere they think that he will go, they will run down there with their caterpillar, their bulldozer, and their sledgehammer. When they go there, they will see that Mr. Obi is not sitting in a mist. They will run back. And it is derailing Mr. President. The government is confused. But I would want to urge and advise them to forget that issue, face their governance, because it is the people of Nigeria that will determine their fate come 2027.
All right.
The idea of running up and down looking for where Mr. Peter Obi is so that they will go and cover their place will not help the government, neither will it help Nigerians. Nigerians are holding on their faith with Mr. Peter Obi and they are waiting for 2027. All this rigmarole by the APC and the rest of them, they are just confusing themselves. Nigerians know better because the suffering in the land is too much. They are hoping and looking up to Mr. Peter Obi to come and bring that his magic wand and let us see how best Nigeria can get better, at least within the 4 years of his governance.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister Friday Nzako, for giving us your time and giving us your perspective to some of the stories read out on the World News at 6. I sincerely do appreciate your input.
Many thanks. Many thanks.
And that's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Wachuku. Good evening and thank you for listening.